014, England, I copy you. 766, state of Pennsylvania.
766, Pennsylvania, go ahead.
Good morning. Nice to hear you on the frequency. You are 4x7 in Pennsylvania.
Okay, Mike, you're 59.
What is your personal?
My name's William. I'm 11 years old. Nice to hear you again. There's a lot of people calling, so I'm probably gonna go. 73, God bless you.
Alright, YouTube. Hello. Thank you for watching. Today I'm going to talk about a couple more things on this ddsvfo from PU4WLG version 6.27 for anyone interested in putting one of those DDSVCOs in a Cobra 142 GTO. Generally, what I do in my videos is I video stuff while I'm doing it, but I lost some video footage. It's actually a million times easier if you're not trying to video stuff while you're doing it. Got a good bit done on this. These are the wires right here from the LCD display. There's a black ground, a VCC, and then an SDA, and I think an SCL. Pins came through this board here, and then I just soldered the wires where the pins connect on the board at. So one thing I'll say about this is when you put the LCD display on the front of this board, make very certain it is not over the edge of this board, not even by anything, because there is zero clearance down here. The LCD display does appear to be the same width as this board, perhaps a little bit under the width of this board. Just something to keep in mind. Now the channel encoder here, this thing is cheap as can be. I'm sorry to say that to you, but I'm just going to tell you that. I don't know how long these things will hold up. This is the push button switch part of the encoder. Basically what that push button switch does is help you navigate through the menu in some way, shape, or form. So you can see there's a jumper coming from the one side of the push button switch that comes over, hits the middle leg of the encoder here. So there's a purple one, that one. This is the ground coming over on the center, and the blue wire is right here. White wire right here on the other leg of the push button switch. This here goes to ground. Now when this encoder came, it was a 12mm shaft, and 12mm shafts don't fit anything. They never have, and I don't know that they ever will. And I can tell you that from changing out a lot of volume controls and audio equipment. Everything you're going to buy today is going to be a 12, and if you're lucky, a 16mm shaft. This was 12. In no way, shape, or form would ever work in this radio anyway, and my guess is it would probably never work in any other radios either because of the recess down in. So what I did is I extended the shaft from a 12mm to a 16mm. That almost looked like that was going to fall through and completely not work. But what I did here is, that is a D shaft. It's got like a spring steel retaining clip or bushing inside the plastic insert of the knob here. And what I did was I reached down in there with a straight pin bent at a 90-degree angle, and pulled that bushing out of the plastic, so that bushing came back further. It's actually out past the start of the plastic. That way it allowed me to get just enough depth to get this to go on there. But ideally, I would probably say that you should have a 19mm shaft or slightly longer. These wires here come over and go to the main board. These wires here come over and go down through and go to the main board there. I knocked 2 holes in there to mount this board. So these are the connections right here: VCC, ground, SCA, and SDL, or SCL and SDA, that go up to the LCD display. These connections right here, which are the black, white, purple, and blue, they go up to the encoder switch. Now, as far as the mode switch goes, this is kind of a messed up thing that could really wreak some havoc for people because it's kind of hard to wrap your head around. But if you look on the side of the board here, there's no connection point for the LSB. There is a USB right there where the orange is, and an AM mark on the board right here where the blue is. Now these instructions were just worded kind of strangely, but we got through it. The LSB position will be identified by the system when there is no grounding at pin D5 or pin D6. In other words, by default, when there is nothing connected to the AM or the USB, this board should be defaultly in LSB mode. It says LSB is the absence of these two requests. So one of these is D5 and D6. It's kind of hard to explain. You just have to trust me that this is absolutely right. If you look here at the board, there's D5 and there's D6. When D5 gets grounded, we're on AM. As long as this LSB switch is closed, according to the schematic. When D6 gets grounded, we're in USB mode. Now, when all these are open, or this one is open, we are in LSB. They actually have switches in series, which is kind of weird, but I'll tell you what, it worked out very, very well. It was probably the easiest part of this project, and I thought it was going to be the most complicated. So we have two wires coming off here for AM and USB. Our LSB wire that's coming from our mode switch, along with these two wires here, these all go to the mode switch. So this white wire here represents LSB. It is actually grounded. It's grounded because it has to make connection at this point right here to ground in order to ground D5 and D6. So if you look here on the mode switch, we're going to use this connection, and that one. Blue, orange, white, according to what I have there on the circuit board. This is AM, this is USB, this is LSB. Now I went through and double checked because I did not want to pull out the existing wiring that's on here to take it out of the radio. I went through and I checked to make sure there was no continuity between any of these three wires, between any of these other connection points on any setting on this mode switch, and there is not. These are completely isolated from that wiring there. So we can leave all this wiring here in the radio. It worked out very well. In the words of Dawkins, that rhymes with rockin', we just got lucky. If you were a Dawkins fan, I'm pretty sure you'll understand it. That wraps up the mode switch here. Now I can't recommend at all using Teflon wire for point-to-point connections into a circuit board, because by the time I get at some point with this, these will break off undoubtedly. So what I usually do is put adhesive around here so that the stress isn't on the wire, because yeah, Teflon wire is not made to go into a circuit board and be soldered. It just does not work. So these connections here, which are the ground, VCC, SDA, and SCL, will get pigtailed to these right here on the oscillator board. So you can see I used the same colors on there, gray, brown, red, and black. So at some point, I'm not sure if it's going to go into those holes or what. Actually, now that I look at it, I put the display into the slots for this, and I'll have to put this into the slots for the display here. But that's okay because they're all in parallel. It doesn't matter. I just now noticed that though. So this will go into those holes there, and then this will mount at the PLL location where the PLL was at some point in time. What I do when I run wiring like this is I twist the pairs together. So you notice I got those wires all twisted up. I just simply do that because twisted wires are less prone to picking up interference. I appreciate you taking the time to watch my videos very much. You take care and have yourself a great day.